We are constantly told that we live in the freest era in human history. We have rights, protections, legal guarantees, and endless choices. Freedom is presented as a historical achievement, something humanity has been steadily accumulating over time. But this story hides a dangerous confusion. Legal freedom is not the same as lived freedom. What exists on paper does not necessarily exist in daily life. Courts do not decide how you wake up, how you move through the city, how much time you have, or how much fear you carry every morning. The idea that ancient or medieval people lived under constant oppression while modern individuals live liberated lives is a comforting myth. It allows us to feel superior to the past. But it ignores a fundamental reality. The organization of society weighs more heavily on human life than laws ever could. The real question is not how many rights you possess, but how many external pressures shape your existence without your consent. Modern society grants rights and at the same time imposes demands that are invisible, constant, and unavoidable. Perhaps never before has the human being been so constrained while believing himself so free. What truly governs daily life is not law, but structure. The physical design of cities, the distance between home and work, the dependence on systems you do not control, the way time itself is organized. For most of human history, people worked where they lived or very close to it. Life was territorial, rooted, and rhythmical. Time followed nature, not schedules. Today, millions of people spend hours each day merely commuting, trapped in traffic, public transport, rigid timetables. This is not a logistical inconvenience. It is a transformation of existence. The simple necessity of crossing an entire city to survive already represents a form of submission. The body obeys. Time is consumed rather than lived. Life becomes organized around systems rather than human needs. This level of pressure was unthinkable in earlier societies, not because the past was ideal, but because social scale was different. Modern life does not ask whether you want to participate. It assumes your obedience. This is a prison without bars, a prison made of structure. For most of history, time was not an enemy. It was a flow. Strict schedules were rare. They existed mainly in religious communities, where discipline served a spiritual purpose. The monk accepted sacrifice because it was meaningful. Time discipline was chosen, not imposed. Outside those walls, time was flexible. Farmers rose with the light. Work followed seasons, weather, and necessity. There was no universal alarm demanding obedience. Today, a few minutes of disobedience can destroy a life. Arriving late is not a mistake, it is a threat. Losing punctuality means losing income. Losing income means losing stability. And losing stability means losing dignity. We live under a pressure unknown to any previous civilization, yet we have normalized it. We believe this anxiety is part of human nature, when in fact it is a recent historical invention. The clock is not neutral. It organizes submission. Another modern invention is the rigid separation between work and leisure. Two artificial compartments dividing life into opposing zones. For centuries, labor and pleasure were intertwined. People sang while working. Effort did not exclude meaning. Life was not endured 5 days a week in order to be briefly tolerated on the weekend. Today, such integration is forbidden. Singing at work can cost your job. Human expression outside designated spaces is seen as disorder. We created specific times to produce and specific times to pretend we are free. Rest became scheduled. Joy became regulated. This fragmentation damages the soul. The individual no longer experiences himself as a whole. He becomes a function during the week and a temporary escape on permitted days. Modernity did not merely reorganize time, it shattered the continuity of human experience. Perhaps the cruelest feature of modern life is isolation. Your social existence is conditional. You belong while you function. You're included while you perform. Lose your job, and you often lose your network, your routine, your sense of place. In earlier societies, social belonging was stable. It could only be lost through extreme acts, exile, crime, expulsion. Today, failure is enough. Unemployment removes more than income. It removes identity. It removes visibility. It removes voice. Millions live surrounded by people, yet experience profound solitude. This scale of isolation is historically new. It never existed before in this form. The fear of falling out of the system shapes behavior, silences conscience, and produces quiet obedience. It is no coincidence that the modern novel became the dominant literary form. The novel is the story of an individual in conflict with society, someone who does not fit, who feels diminished, who either seeks escape or domination. Modern society promises equality, yet awakens ambitions far beyond human capacity. Millions believe they are destined to change the world, while barely able to govern themselves. This mismatch generates resentment, anxiety, and grandiosity. It is not strength, it is fear disguised as ambition. Society creates the wound and sells illusions as remedies. None of them work. You cannot defeat society, but you can prevent it from destroying you. True freedom is not political, material, or collective. It is interior. It is the preservation of inner integrity. The moment you decide not to be dissolved by external expectations, you enter the path of philosophy, whether you name it that or not. This requires something difficult, accepting your life as if you had chosen it, not surrendering to alienation, but resisting what fragments and dehumanizes. Society may be heavy, but it does not need to rule your soul. And that is the only victory that truly matters.